Welcome back to Ant's Boxing Channel, everybody. I wanted to give you guys my final breakdown and prediction of Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin, who wins and how, this Saturday. Y'all make sure y'all tune in and watch it because it's going to be epic. All right, so boom, right? We got Gervonta Davis, which needs no further introduction. We already know. Arguably, in a lot of eyes, the face of boxing. Not mine, but I got to say that, right? Because a lot of people believe that. So, Gervonta Davis, power puncher, counter puncher, footwork, IQ, you know, short arms, chin. His grit, it has yet to really be tested. We've heard about it. We've heard the dude is gritty, but we haven't seen that in the ring in real time. Anybody could be gritty in sparring sessions when you got 16-ounce gloves and stuff like that. I'm not trying to take away from him, just trying to be honest. It is what it is. We haven't seen it yet. So I don't know if I can give him that credit full blown. I do believe he got some grit to him, though. Frank Martin will show us how much grit he got. You got Frank Martin on the other side. Southpaw, just like Gervonta Davis. Also could be slick. I like to say he's a little bit more aggressive than Gervonta Davis. He applies more pressure. He throws more punches than Gervonta Davis. Also got IQ, you know what I mean? But far less experienced. Frank Martin got footwork. Both of these guys are pretty complete packages when you're looking at fighters. They, you know, from the jab to the footwork, offensive movement, you know, defense, IQ, reaction time. Y'all seen when Tank tried to, you know, pump fake him. You seen everybody made fun of Frank Martin for that. I liked it. I liked what I saw. You know what I mean? Because I felt like that was just Gervonta Davis trying to make an example. Gervonta Davis was trying to bully him because Frank has never been on the stage before. So Gervonta Davis is trying to expose and bully that you don't belong here. Get in his head, you know, mental games. But I like Frank's reaction. Because one, you seen he tried to guard himself, and you seen he was ready for the counter punch right there. You feel me? And Frank ain't go nowhere. Frank ain't really flinch like, oh, moving back or scared or whatever. You feel me? So I like what I seen by that. So, you know, the reaction time, these guys both got it. Counter punch, all that stuff. They could both do it. Now, there are minor differences in these guys' fight styles. They're not the same. As much as they have some similar attributes in fight styles, they are not the same, right? So here's the differences. Gervonta Davis likes to take off early rounds and not really fight you. You know what I mean? Some people say he likes to download his data. I say otherwise. I don't believe it's that he sits down and downloads data. I believe Gervonta Davis lets you begin to exert yourself. Take 3 or 4 rounds, exert yourself, burn some energy. And Gervonta Davis says he's going to start in round 3 or 4. So when he starts in round 3 or 4 fighting, he's fighting at 100% brutality, while you've already simmered down to about 88%, you know what I mean? 92 to 88%, you know what I mean? Because you've burnt out a little bit. Gervonta Davis isn't the best at initiating. Well, that's the wrong thing to say. Gervonta Davis will have to show in this fight against Frank Martin that he can initiate offense against a mover. You get what I'm saying? See, with Frank Martin, he don't really is that Frank Martin will have to initiate his offense against the mover in Gervonta Davis, but it won't be as complicated for Frank because at the end of the day, Gervonta Davis is going to be looking for Frank, you know? Because I don't think Frank has a power like a Rolly or Ryan Garcia, or the size together with the power like a Mario Barrios that Tank is going to feel he needs to be cautious with. So I believe that Tank will try to get in there and apply more pressure on Frank than he did those other guys, which is good for Frank, because Frank doesn't have to really worry about Gervonta Davis using his footwork and mobility to get away from him in that ring as much as other fighters had to, like Rolly, Ryan, and Barrios, you know? Tank will stand in front of Frank all night. And Frank is going to stand in front of Tank too, but Frank will be the one that's moving more. I believe that, right? Tank is going to have to deal with that. Tank is going to have to cut off the ring. Tank is going to have to set up his shots. Tank isn't going to be able to come in with one explosive shot and catch Frank lacking. I mean, he could, because Tank is very explosive and athletic, so you can't put it past him. But I'm saying it's not going to be as easy for Tank to land his shots against Frank as it was in the past. Now, you got Frank, who throws more punches and bunches. He throws more, he's not like a Mexican-style fighter, but relatively speaking, in comparison to Gervonta Davis, Frank throws higher volume punches. He throws more combinations than Gervonta Davis. You know, Frank got some power. Tank got a hell of a chin. I say, yeah, Tank got one of the better chins in boxing. You know what I mean? Tank also got one-punch knockout power. Frank's chin, we haven't really seen it tested like that. You know what I mean? So it all boils back down to Frank lacking experience, you know? You got to look at the mentality of these two guys. Tank seems to be here to prove a point and make a statement, right? He's been trying to take advantage of Frank's inexperience being on this level. And he's been trying to just, you see, even like in the press conference when everybody's talking and Tank is in the background, he made sure to speak to them, to distract them, to try to get in their head, to irritate them while they were trying to talk. Those are all tactics, you know, mental tactics. Tank isn't doing that for no reason. Tank is smart, you know. Frank is here, you know, trying to stay composed, but Frank is here with the goal of winning. Tank wants to win too, but I don't think Tank wants to win as bad as Frank, to be honest with you. And when I say that, it's not that Tank don't want to win. What I'm saying is Tank's focus is allocated within trying to make distractions and get in people's heads. Frank isn't doing that. So already by doing that, you're already dedicating yourself to a certain avenue. So you're not fully focused on this over here. I think Frank is more focused on winning than Tank is, to be honest with you. I think Tank is in his mind trying to compete with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney and the pay-per-view numbers that they did. And I think Tank is trying to prove that he is the face of boxing. Tank got David Benavidez on his card. You get what I'm saying? Tank got what's the 140-pounder? I love how he fights. Gary Antoine Russell on his card, you know, versus Alberto Puello. You feel me? Carlos Adames. Tank got some dudes that could steal the show, and Tank ain't trying to have any of them steal the show. I think Tank, believe it or not, is a lot of pressure on Tank in this fight, I believe. Now, so yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a big a whole bunch of punches thrown, a rock and sock 'em type of fight. It's not, because these guys, they're technical, skillful, athletic fighters. You know what I mean? But what I do believe will happen, early on in the fight, Frank is gonna have his way. Frank is gonna have his way, and Tank is gonna do what Tank does: start slow, try to start a little late. By the time Tank starts, and around the third or fourth round, Frank is still gonna, I believe Frank is still gonna be getting the better of him. And in the middle late rounds, 6 to 8, a switch is gonna flip in Gervonta Davis. And Gervonta Davis is gonna begin to get a little wild. He's gonna begin to get a little wild, and he's gonna lose a little bit of focus. I believe you're gonna see, like we've seen before, where Calvin Ford is trying to talk to Tank in the corner, and Tank ain't really listening. He looking all over the place and stuff like that. I believe that will occur, and I believe that Tank won't. Tank is gonna lose this fight. That's my final prediction. Tank will lose this fight. Frank Martin is gonna outbox Tank. Tank is gonna sleep on Frank Martin. Frank is gonna outbox him. But it's going to be a very competitive fight. I believe it will be a competitive fight. I believe that at some point in that fight, Tank will drop Frank. Probably later in the fight, in the middle of the fight, or possibly even early. I could see him catching him with a good counterpunch, but I don't see so much early. I feel like Frank is going to be very on his toes. I feel as Frank is having success in a fight around that 6th to 8th round, as he's having success, I believe that Tank is going to pull some tricks out the hat, and I believe that he's going to catch Frank slipping with something. Frank might get a little overly confident. Hopefully nothing that could hurt him and save Tank the fight and knock him out. But in my opinion, guys, I believe that Frank is disciplined. If you see Frank fight, Frank is focused, and Frank is going to be patient, taking his time. I don't think Frank is going to go in there, get overly confident to the point where Tank could really catch him with something that hard. Frank isn't the easiest to hit either. You know what I mean? Frank is slick. He's very, very elusive. Really good footwork. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Frank. I got Frank winning a very close fight, possibly like 7-5, 8-4, but possibly getting dropped. So best case scenario, I could maybe see a draw, but I would favor Frank Martin to win this fight. But here's the thing. If the fight is that close, Frank will get robbed and Tank will win. So my final prediction for this fight is robbery. That's my final prediction. But for the real ones out there that know that they watching that fight, it's going to be scoring. It's going to be controversy, because I believe a lot of people are going to feel like Frank Martin won this fight. I believe he will win this fight. 7-5, 8-4. If it's like 7-5 and he gets dropped, you know, it might be like a draw, you know. But if he wins like 8-4 or 7-5 convincingly, and, you know, some people sway it a certain way, boom, boom, I believe Frank will walk away with this fight. That's my final prediction. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I really want to know. But that's it, Fans Boxing Channel. I'm out.